Bengals look to get back on their high horse here in Denver. Mike Petraglia inside Empower Field at Mile High as the 2-1 Cincinnati Bengals take on the 1-2 Denver Broncos. This is a desperation game for both teams early in this season for different reasons. The Broncos 1-2, obviously, coming off back-to-back losses at Indianapolis and at the LA Chargers, a division rival, after winning on opening day here at home. They are 1-2, and they feel the need to get back in the division race right away. The Kansas City Chiefs, obviously, now 2-2 after their big win over the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday. And we all know the story about the Bengals coming into this game. They were 2-0 and got their doors blown off. Worst loss in terms of margin of defeat in team history last week at Minnesota, 48-10. Bengals put the ball on the ground 5 times, lost 3 of them, and they also had quarterback Jake Browning intercepted twice. One of those returned for a touchdown. They actually had 2 touchdowns for the Minnesota Vikings that were direct results of turnovers by the Bengals last Sunday in Minnesota. 5 turnovers in general. 4 in the first half. They want to put that behind them. They have spent all week wiping the slate clean, as they say, flushing that loss out of their system and trying to move on and look ahead to the Denver Broncos here tonight on Monday Night Football. The conditions will be ideal. Maybe a little bit of rain, 25% chance of some showers in the area, but we're looking for temperatures in the low 60s with a bit of a breeze again and clouds in the sky. It should be pretty much an ideal game for September 29th here in the Mile High City. Jake Browning, we spoke about him a few moments ago. He's got to be better than he has in his first 6 quarters of replacing Joe Burrow than he has been in the last couple of games. Of course, he's thrown 5 interceptions, and we mentioned the pick 6 last week by Isaiah Rodgers in Minnesota. He's got to do a better job of taking calculated risks but not reckless gambles, as Dan Picture told us earlier in the week after the loss to Minnesota. He knows the fine line. He's got to be better with his decisions, and he's also got to find a way to feed the ball to Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Jamar Chase had his fair share of catches last week, but T. Higgins, he had 1 catch on 2 targets. That number has got to improve. But, of course, for that number to improve, the offensive line has got to be significantly better. Ted Karras and Orlando Brown Jr. spent most of the week accepting responsibility, saying what they have put on film for the first 3 games, not just last week in Minnesota, but the first 3 games, has not been up to standard. And because of that, not only has the pass protection been poor, the run game has been even worse. The Bengals are dead last in the NFL in running the ball, averaging just 49 yards as a team per game. Chase Brown has not been able to get on track. He's averaging just over 2.5 yards per carry. Again, that's not going to get it done. If you want balance in the Bengals' offensive attack, especially with Joe Burrow not calling the signals, you've got to improve the run game. Bengals all know that. So how will the Bengals, against one of the very best defenses in the National Football League, be able to do that here tonight in Denver? Last year, you remember that game, December 28th at Paycor, Zach Allen had 3.5 sacks against Joe Burrow, and the Broncos in general were able to put pressure on the quarterback all night long. That's not going to get any easier tonight here before the Bronco faithful. How will the Bengals be able to handle the noise? How will they be able to handle the pressure from the front 7? Also throw Nick Benito in there as well. The Broncos can bring the pressure and bring it all night long. So the Bengals are going to have to be able to handle that. And if they are, maybe they can play a more complimentary game than they did last week against Minnesota. Remember, Jake Browning was driving in the first quarter to try and perhaps tie the game at 7-7. He threw the pick 6. It was 14-0, and really the Bengals never recovered. Of course, they gave up 17 points in the final minute 47 of the first half last week, and they cannot afford to repeat that, obviously, here tonight in Denver. How will the Bengals defense handle Bo Nix? Will they be able to put pressure on Bo Nix, perhaps force a couple of interceptions or turnovers? He is a second-year quarterback who has struggled to start the 2025 season. Also, the Broncos have blown some fourth-quarter leads, actually, in their last two losses. They have had the lead and blown the lead in the fourth quarter. Can the Bengals perhaps play with the lead and put more pressure on Bo Nix and going into the fourth quarter? Certainly the Bengals don't want to be facing a deficit here on the home turf of the Broncos if they expect to win on Monday Night Football. Bengals win this game. They are 3-1, 2 games clear of the Baltimore Ravens, and would be tied with the Pittsburgh Steelers atop the AFC North. A lot to be accomplished here on this Monday night in Denver. Can the Bengals take care of the football? Can they execute on offense? Can they run the ball? So many questions to be answered. We'll have those answers one way or another on the YouTube, on my Jungle Roar Pod postgame podcast with Richard Skinner of Local 12. You can, of course, catch that on youtube.com/@JungleRoarPod. Be sure to follow me on the X @Trags, TRAGS, and we'll have the breakdown, the postgame analysis, takeaways. That'll be on CLNSCincy with a Y.com. Inside Empower Field at Mile High, Mike Petraglia, CLNS Media.